look inside a leaf to take a closer look at a plant cell. First, we encounter a protective cell wall outside the plasma membrane. The cell wall is made from strong cellulose fibrils. Once inside the plant cell, we see the large central vacuole, which regulates the composition of the cytoplasm, creates the internal pressure that is characteristic of plant cells, and stores various compounds produced by the cell. All plant cells have mitochondria, just like animal cells do. Sugars produced by photosynthesis are broken down and converted to ATP in mitochondria. Most organelles, like mitochondria, are found in both plant cells and animal cells. Plants make their own food by photosynthesis in chloroplasts. Light passes through the two membranes of the chloroplast and strikes these green discs, where light energy is converted to chemical energy. The sugar molecules produced by photosynthesis can be made into other molecules or broken down for energy.
One of the key differences between plant and animal cells is that plant cells, as you see here, have a specialized organelle inside of them called a chloroplast. That name means it's a plastid, which is a category of cell organelle that is green. And that green color is key because it is what allows it to do photosynthesis. So the chloroplast is the organelle, it's sometimes called, of photosynthesis. If we zoom in closer on a chloroplast, you'll see some basic structures that you'll find in every chloroplast. And the first of which is its outer membrane. It actually has two membranes. It has this outer membrane and then immediately underneath it another membrane. This is evidence in part of how the chloroplast is developed through something called endosymbiosis. Probably about 500 million years ago, give or take a few hundred million. It used to be an independent organism, but then it got eaten by a larger cell. Once we're through that outer envelope, it's sometimes called because it sounds cooler, you're inside the chloroplast and you'll see a bunch of structures floating around in a watery liquid. That watery liquid is called the stroma. That's very similar to the cytoplasm or cytosol of the larger outer cell that's around the chloroplast. Within the stroma, you'll see these stacks of membrane discs. One individual stack is called a grana. Collectively, these stacks of discs are called grana. Now, one disc within this granum is called a thylakoid. So, the grana are made up of stacks of thylakoid membranes. The thylakoid membrane is the surface that has all the special molecules called chlorophyll and photosystems that allow for the absorption of light so that the plant organelle here, the chloroplast, can absorb that energy and then transfer it to enzymes that are floating around in the stroma. Those enzymes floating around in the stroma then build glucose. That process of absorbing light energy and then storing that energy into glucose molecules is called photosynthesis. Thus, the chloroplast is the organelle of photosynthesis.